Oh, seeing these morons tear each other apart is great. That may be true, but you got a double EP to review. You know what? You're right. Paris, Texas. They left me with a gun, and they left me with a sword. Double EP review. Ooh. Hello one, hello all, it's the gothiest ghost of them all, Caspa in the flesh, and it's time for a review of Paris, Texas. They left me with a gun, they left me with a sword, double EP review. Paris, Texas is a California rap duo, and yeah, I'm really just now hearing about these guys. I'm really just now getting into their stuff, and to be honest, I was not too impressed with their back catalog, really, at all. Like, I really saw the potential there, and how they had this style that I'm into, you know, like with post-punk, punk rock in general, synth punk, but I really don't think they were executing the style well, and I feel like the way they just executed it was just so drab, so colorless, lacking personality, and in terms of bars, in terms of songwriting, I really thought it left a lot to be desired, as nothing was really sticking with me, no hooks were sticking with me at all, nothing was punchy, but that was then, back in 2023. Now fast forward, we're in 2025, and they've released 2 solid comeback EPs that have me like, wow, now I'm getting the full extent of their talent here, the full extent of their potential. Like, they've really unleashed everything they have. They've really unleashed the power. They've really gone Super Saiyan on these 2 EPs that I'm speaking of here. That's probably going to change as the review goes on, since I'm reviewing 2. That would only make sense. But now I feel like they're back. They're back with more energy, definitely adding more quirk to the mix, and performing very well on here. Not only that, but there are no guest features. They are definitely keeping it Paris, Texas, bringing more quirk, more fire to the table, as they're taking post-punk and synth-punk and combining it with experimental rap and rap rock. And I know you're gonna roll your eyes at rap rock if you've lived through the genre, if you've lived through the era like I have. Yes, it's a very hit or miss genre. You could either get your Rage Against the Machine, or you could get your Crazy Town. It's a very two-way street, to be honest. And the first EP being the sword portion, which I didn't really find as consistent in quality, but man, when it starts cooking with fire, when it starts cooking with gas, it just burns all the way through. There was just nothing but fire going forward. And also I've noticed like a thematic focus here. And if I'm gonna state what's the weakest track here, I really gotta say Dogma 25, like pulling from the Odd Future catalog and not really doing it well, not really bringing anything refreshing to the style, not bringing anything refreshing to the influence. Like, I just found it to be very bare bones, no intensity, and I don't think we get the strongest set of bars here, but I will admit though, the hook is pretty catchy. And the following Red Eyes and Blue Hearts I found to be really tacky with its effects. Like, I could have really done without the obnoxious falsettos on here. Not only that, but the very dime a dozen emo moody guitar chord progression that's on here, which we've heard 1,000 times over, that's not really breaking any new ground, not really bringing anything interesting or compelling. And the comatose Travis Scott-esque vocals weren't exactly doing it for me either. Luckily though, things do pick up with Tantrum, with its rumbly bass, eerie synth lines punching in and out, with these distorted guitar arpeggios that leads into this groovy bass that intensifies as the track progresses, and the synth keys in the background are just straight up searing, and one great wordplay after the next, like, Felt like Kenny in my hood, I could die any day, so every day I need payment. And we get more bangers to follow, like Holy Spinal Fluid, which has these bombastic 808 drums, super dense walls of synths just pulsating. It sounds very chaotic, but you could still groove to it. Also, one thing I think should be noticed is how I mentioned their influence earlier. And the thing is, I feel like they are really pulling from the Kid Cudi playbook, except I could argue that I think this contends with Cudi's best and also Cudi's worst too, which I know is insane to say. I get it if you're a Cudi fan, a hardcore Cudi fan, or if you're a Cudi hater, because I feel like they're pulling from his worst era, but they're making it their best work. It's kind of weird. Like Infinite. As the guitar chords are used with eccentricity here, which are traded out by these synth lines that are very quirky and also do match the eccentricity of the vocals. Not only that, but also deep robotic vocal leads on the hook. And I would say too, like, this sounds like if Young Thug teamed up with Future and just made the most ambitious track of their career. And I also dig the very atmospheric outro too. And I also love the closer of the first EP, which has a fantastic combo of the super fat upright bass samples and crispy snare drums that are accompanied by these rhythmic Spanish guitar bits that sound very NRD. And yes, I said NRD, and that is a word. We're gonna run with that because that is something that we're putting into the English dictionary now. So yes. And then we get the second EP, which is all killer, no fuller, no bullshit whatsoever, just fire, all that you desire. And the material here really is the coming of age. The material here is really them coming into their own, because they start killing it straight out of the gate with the opener that opens up with like this video game like intro of this narrator or like this challenger speaking on, are you up for the challenge? Are you up for the challenge of success? And it feels like they're about to go on the most epic quest they've ever been on, leading into topically these laser focused bars of success, the obstacles that come with it, whether it's physically, mentally, and the production is killer with the driving synth bass and drums. And we also have these glimmering synth keys that sound like they're raining down from another planet, another intergalactic world onto ours. And after that, we get various quirks with the synths, some sweet guitar licks. The whole thing sounds like an intergalactic goth banger. And yes, the production does sound very busy, but it doesn't sound too claustrophobic, and it has a lot of punch to it. It doesn't sound flat, it doesn't sound overdone at all. And I also love the rap verses that have this yin and yang effect to them. There's like a juxtaposition to them, where it goes from straight up harrowing to emo to just cocky and laid back. And again, there's just so much color, there's so much variety. And then the song Twin Geeker, that brings yet another synth punky banger. But man, when it comes to the rapping, when it comes to the chemistry, it is just watertight. And the bars here are so clever and hilarious with the line, she's gonna throw it back, I'm gonna catch it. She's got old money, need geriatric. Your life is tragic, I am like Patrick. I'm a rock star, but you cannot have this. And the production is so dizzying, it feels so hypnotic, especially on the hook with these distorted fuzzy chords. It's such a fun track. Instantaneous hook. I'll eat your face. I'll lead the way. Ooh! It sounds like a manic Pharrell Williams on LSD, which again makes sense due to the fact that there is a lot of NERD worship here, a lot of Pharrell worship here, but goddamn, it really does dig into the synth punk aspect of it. Like, it really does show a lot more ambition than their contemporaries, than their predecessors, than the people who they're pulling from, which is amazing to me, which is great, which is fantastic. Because it sounds like Pharrell Williams, if he was on like the most psychedelic, most forbidden LSD he could get his hands on. And on this high, he just laid down the dirtiest synth track that's the most psychedelic synth track he could possibly lay down. Like, it's so well done. There's so much energy here. They're really on their A game with the flows, the production, and each track just flows seamlessly. And in terms of structure, they really knocked it out the park here. And the vocals, man, whenever I'm hearing that raspy tone, it just sounds so deranged. It just sounds so out there. And not only that, but there's so much variation to the vocals here where I don't really get tired of it, and I can tell like it's organic, and I just have a lot of fun listening to it. I just feel so enthralled. Like, this time around, they're taking their influences and adding more to the arsenal here. And not only that, but adding so much attention to detail in each sonic direction they go in. Like Strippersong, that again has NERD, Kid Cudi-isms, but damn, it is done so well. The pumping bass line, soaring backing vocals, quirky laser-like synths. It's like the mid-2000s again, but in the best way. There was nothing mid about these 2000s. This is fire mid-2000s, yeah. And the song Mudbone, which is another blast from my past. It's just an absolutely bassy, synthy, high-octane track with these pumping sequence drums, really thick analog bass, and the hook feels so anthemic. And the pitched down manipulated vocals really give this thing an identity. I think it gives it more life, more punch. And the song Halo, which is a short but effective track, where on the hook we get these distorted, chanted vocals, and the vocals are just so raspy and passionate, and it's very dark, very bassy. It actually reminds me of what it would be like if, like, Paris, Texas was on a Gorillaz track with the Viagra Boys. And everything is just so precise here. Like, I feel like it's either a connection to an infatuation to a person or a correlation to drug use. But the religious tie-ins, the correlation to the afterlife and religion is just fantastic. And the writing, the reference points, the massive infatuation to either a person or correlation to drug use, like an addiction, and then adding in the religious ties in of, you know, religiosity, the afterlife, and doing those tie-ins thematically. I really do think these are filling the gaps, the creative gaps that were missing on Midair. And I definitely gotta mention the closer on the latter half of this thing, which is honestly probably the most personal and emotive track they've ever done. No, it is the most emotive and personal track they've ever done. With these layered vocals just sounding so beautiful together. I especially love how heavenly they sound in tandem with the bass leads and the synth horns, where eventually we get these immensely beautiful synth strings that just transforms into this gorgeous string section. Like, the way it just blossoms and sounds so glossy and heavenly really does remind me of Kanye Graduation era. And lyrically, it's very coming of age, a very sobering moment here, where you're trying to develop motivation to be on a better path, grow, leave your errors behind, really develop as a person, but also coming into contact with these struggles that are like setting you back, but also trying to motivate yourself to not go back, to not regress. So yeah, I really do find there is much improvement here, and I really do think a lot of the gaps, the creative gaps that needed to be filled, have been filled here. Because honestly, with this thing being so thematic, focused, creative, and again, with the potential fulfilled here, with the potential met here, it's really a shame that this isn't an album. This is just 2 EPs, but with these 2 EPs, I think really do contend again with the artists that they're pulling from. Because honestly, this is the best I've heard of this style in quite a while. Because holy shit, everything is just keeping me engaged here. Because I found this thing to be clever at points, very moving at points. In terms of the hooks, definitely sticking the landing, definitely something I'm committing to memory. The production has way more life to it and way more innovation. And I can tell they really pushed it here with their performances. Like, I found it to be fun, emotive, attention grabbing. And like I said before, I felt like there was something lacking, something missing. But what was missing, what this thing was derived of, has definitely been brought here. I feel the deprivation of their current work is not a factor at all on this one. I feel the potential has been met and the fire has been lit, and I hope that fire continues. Like, honestly, let it just blaze from here, because that potential, I'm seeing it. They met it, and I hope that they go above and beyond with the next project. Hopefully a full-length project, like an album. Because on this EP, if I'm combining these together, I'm giving this thing, I'm feeling on this thing 4 out of 5 black hearts. It's what I'm feeling on it. But if you've given this a listen, what'd you think? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Why? And that's it. Caspa, Gothic Ghost, Paris, Texas, double EP. Till we meet again.